When you ask someone what their favorite Ace Attorney game is, they do respond with Trials and Tribulations, Gyakuten Saiban 2, maybe Apollo Justice, or Dual Destinies, and Spirit of Justice. The last two are up for debate. If you ask me what my favorite game in the franchise is, I'd reply with something that would Talkmania fan, with a few exceptions. We're here to discuss my favorite game in the franchise, Dai Gyakuten Saiban, otherwise known as the Great Ace Attorney, DGS Resort. Just like Gyakuten Saiban 2, it's not localized outside Japan, but unlike GK2, the actual game itself hasn't received a fan translation patch. Yet. The only way to see the game translated is either to play it with a script or watch the sub let's play on YouTube, the latter which I preferred. So those people that did watch the let's play and play it with a script, why did they get entranced by the game? How come this game is on top of most of their lists? Well, I'm here to tell you why DGS is considered the best in the series, and why it needs the recognition it ever so deserves. Be warned, this video has spoilers. Please turn away if you care for spoilers. Now, let us begin with this great adventure of a great game for Great Ace Attorney. As a new first start for Takumi and arguably us, this game is meant to be a prequel to the main series, taking place in the late 19th century with the main protagonist being the ancestor of Phoenix Wright, Wainosuke Naruto, a Japanese university student. Like most Ace Attorney protagonists, this BDI university student never started his adventure as an attorney. He just defended himself on a whim. The actual reason we'll get into later. It's thanks to this twist that we get to see a totally different viewpoint of the law, opposed to the previous set of eyes we looked through with familiarity. What also comes with this is how Wainosuke's journey is similar to Apollo's journey in his own game. Heck, Wainosuke takes after Apollo rather than Phoenix in this game. Yet he still remains his own character with his own quirks, development, and dialogue. The way Wainosuke's development is handled is focused on the power of believing, which we ever so kept learning in previous titles. But halfway through this game, it is challenged, then revived the next case. Yet again, we'll get into that later. The game crosses the border from Meiji-era Japan over towards Victorian England, so basically we're already seeing two different settings in one game, which is akin to Spirit of Justice premise, but that's a discussion for another day. As we only spent the first case alone in Japan, I kinda wish we had spent some more time here, as Takumi did a good job showing off what Meiji Japan is like and how Japan is adapting the modernization of the outside world, as this is the first time in many years they've opened up the doors to the outside, and how we see them adopting modern ideals such as a police and legal system. Now these early stages are pretty flawed, not to mention how the legal system is even more flawed than Dual Destiny's bullshit depiction of a dark age of the law. As for Victorian London, the tone shift is noticeable when we get to case 3. Stylized bright surroundings really sells it as that this is Victorian era version of London. Now onto the cases, shall we? The first case of the game, like I said earlier, is the only case in the game taking place in Japan, and the way it seems to portray both countries and the tension between the two was treated spot on. The actual case has a mix of different elements from previous trilogy cases. The first three cases of the game, in general, have all do the same. Just Takumi retweaking previous ideas and concepts, trying to make them better. Downside is it gives a big feeling of repetition. This case contains elements from Turnabout Memories, the first Turnabout, and one aspect from the second half of Turnabout Sisters. Do not tell me you're getting deja vu when you hear a university student is accused of killing someone who needs to be defended by a friend and mentor, and just so happens that the murderer is a lady whose very presence made the entire court swoon over her as if she was born royalty. Yeah, I know. Don't get me wrong, for me, this top tier case, my favorite first case. The Japanese judge in this seems to act less gullible compared to Uzi, the original judge. There are times where he goes on the side of truth on several instances. The most noteworthy one being how he lets the Sato present decisive evidence to the defense. This is all to out his presence. Surprise! This is also taking into account what he said about women entering the court right before the judge allows her to present the evidence. If I want one of these characters to reappear in this sequel, that would be Satoru Hosonaga, the undercover detective of the Teacher Police. I really like this guy's personality and resolve he practically carries around to perfect the standards of Japan's police department. He appears in Case 2, but I'll go in depth into his conclusion in that case when I get to it. Kazuma Sagi is a character with a strong moral compass, the best friend of Naruto who delivers his role exceptionally. If Inosuke was not Link's ancestor, he should be the main protagonist. But alas, this character delivers at being a real attorney. He shows his knowledge, heart, and skill in the court while assisting Inosuke. The way he agreed to take on the case despite knowing the consequences of living his life-long dream exchange trip to Britain shows how much he cares for those close to him. Inosuke also shows he cares for Saki and he took the defense, something he has no idea of doing, but did it anyway, so his friend won't be at risk of not going on the exchange trip. The case may seem mediocre to some, but the mystery is hidden and the way it solidifies itself as the first impression of the game was done exceptionally well. Giselle Red isn't what you'd call a top-tier villain, as she fits in at mid-tier at most. The motive for killing Dr. Watson wasn't clarified, we get a vague idea at the end of the game, but very vague. But nonetheless, it leaves a bit of an impact. She's a genuine threat in the courtroom and to Ryu. She even did the ballsiest deed of destroying evidence in the courtroom. Wisdom is also very strong with this one, as she sees Japanese as inferior people beneath her. She may be the only culprit to be caught red-handed by the entire court and get away scot-free, with the only consequence of being escorted to Shanghai. Wait, what am I getting? Turn about beginning vibes here? Never mind. Overall, the entire case fills to the brim with great mysteries and contradictions to be resolved. Twists and resolutions are handled pretty well here. The true way the victim died, the Koban coin, and the plate of beefsteak being swapped are really well handled mysteries for me. The two other witnesses, the soldier and the artifact collector, whose names are too complicated to understand and speak out, are kinda air characters. They just do their job and do kinda entertaining things. And that's it. Eugene Mikotoba, however, is a character with a lot of secrets and mysteries surrounding him. He's a pretty solid character as he puts faith in Inosuke to defend himself, as he cares deeply for justice and truth. Wow. Aristotle means times good. Best ever. That's enough for the first case. The second case gives the game a little nudge in the right direction. Like the main series, this is an investigation exclusive case, as it takes place in a steamship called the SS Alaclaire. As said earlier, this case borrows an element from the 2D case, in that case of the Tenbout Sisters. The element, however, well, the mentor dies. This is where we meet Sherlock Holmes, one of the game's major selling points. This portrayal of Holmes is a blast. He may not appear cold or intelligent or badass as other iterations of him, but he's witty, for one, and he's funny. He's not like the 11th Doctor in many regards. Don't be fooled as he shows signs of intelligence and deduction. He seems to disregard Edge's sacred rule of logic. Yeah, bad Sherlock, bad. I think I should mention how I never really read any of the original Sherlock Holmes novellas, so be warned as this case is meant to be a Holmes story with the same name. The way it actually follows the original ideas of the book and changes it all up is just pretty funny considering what we learn in Case 4 about the Holmes novels. Hosunaga's return in this case is a nice touch as the detective tried his best. He tries to help out our main cast. We see he's a little hurt as he failed his mission as the bodyguard of Asagi. We can see after Case 1 he puts his belief in Naruto to prove his innocence. Also, Inosuke is a scapegoat again. Yay! Fluent reasoning is a really interesting mechanic, as the 3D used in this game is used to its fullest in the entire game. Sadly, not for the environments or the investigation segments like Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice did. Being able to skim through a person's exterior or an environment is a nice addition. The presentation of finding out clues is reminiscent of Dangan Lumber's non-stop debates, and maybe Ghost Trick with the spotlights and dancing and all that, but only subtle. I think I should finally talk about the game's main assistant, Susato Mikotaba. Unlike most assistants, he doesn't rely on a gimmick or in the need of a straight man, the latter being most of the time. Sachi has her own intelligence and uses it. She's meant to be the most perfect Yamato Nadeshiko, as she is graceful, polite, loyal, and has some dedication to her work, i.e. she takes it really seriously. She's loved for detective novels and is more stronger than Athena. Stronger than freaking Athena. You know you have a good assistant if she's stronger and smarter than Athena. Best assistant, 10 out of 10. I joke, but she's a really good assistant though. I really like the chemistry behind her and Rainusuke, as it feels like they got along quite well. Think a bit of a more competent relation of Phoenix and Maya. The most incompetent relationship as you can see. The case's killer, Nikomina Bolseveric, is a pretty sympathetic character. She's a scared teenage ballerina that wanted to flee from her home country of Russia, which is on the brink of revolution. As someone who didn't know who to trust, her best bet was to flee from the country. She even had a personal connection to the crew, who were more than happy to help her out from her predicament. The way Asogi was killed just because of a misunderstanding can be a little heartwarming and heartbreaking. Her paranoia got the better of her as he pushed Asogi on the bedpost, which in of itself was an accident. If the two layer villains in this game didn't exist, she would be my favorite killer. Case's ending when Sasotto gives Ryu Karuma is a touching and yet sweet ending. Rainusuke shows us the same kind of resolve as Asogi showed in case 1, and also some of his own from the same case. This is a timing end to this case. I've been excited to talk about the adventure of the one-way room, the third case of the game. Believe it or not, this case is a godsend when it comes to extra cases. I'm serious. But first, we cover all the things this case introduces before we grind our teeth in the meat and potatoes. London is presented to us as this rich, vibrant world, just contrast to the dull yellow color palette of Japan you see in the very first cutscene. We quickly transition over to the Chief of Justice office, and let me say this, I love this character, I just love him. Art Vortex, the Chief of Justice, is presented to us as a man with an intimidating presence. The way he keeps a track on time down to the second solidifies the immense presence he has around him. He seems really proud of Britain, as we have seen in the exchange between Rainusuke, Susato and him. How he let Rainusuke take the Gundle case right off the bat shows how much faith he puts in his foreigner's abilities, despite being a substitute. But it was really questionable as he has little to no reason to put so much faith in him. We'll move on before we get to DJs to speculation territory. When we reach the Old Bailey, we meet the defendant of the case, Gulsney Gundle. And man, he's the main attraction of the case. I mean, man! I love this guy so much. This person acts like your typical naive millionaire idiot, but he has a strange sense of competence waving off him due to his suspicious nature. On second he's all, oh no, the prosecutor is going to kill me of a crime. Very next second he's all like, disrespect me, that's idiotic, it's preposterous, I am a celebrity. Yeah, that's a little overboard, I know. Gundle not only seems to take after Red White due to his design and his bling, sparkle attitude, but has Matengard intertwined with him. His celebrity attitude and the twist at the end of the case, which I'm not spoiling now, really gives him the same vibe in both characters. During this courtroom, no, not that one, yes, that one, just like with the two earlier standard cutscenes, we are greeted with an atmosphere extremely different towards the one in Japan, as this one's grandiose nature takes after a church, rather than in an actual courtroom. This matches the greatness of the British Empire and the multiply mental contrast between Japan and England during the 19th century. This is the first time we are introduced to our main prosecutor for this game, Barak Van Zeeks. Let me take this time to say how much I love this guy. He's hands down my favorite prosecutor in the entire franchise, and my favorite character in this game. My reasoning for it is admittedly really shallow, but still, how much I adore this glorious Deathbringer. His animations are amazing, the character's attitude just screams badass impulses. Looking at you, Dr. Kuzo, when he brings in a freaking omnibus in the courtroom, the crime scene! He's the second prosecutor in the series to just do his damn job. with the first being Xavier, and not waste time trying to make Spencer's life a living hell. Looking at you, Nayuta. I'll get into a few things later on. Let's just get back on track. This is also the first case that introduces the courtroom gimmick of the jury. To me, this feels like Takumi expanding upon the jury system of AJ. The way 6 random members of the public cast a vote in the middle of a trial by throwing freaking fireballs into a giant skull adds a bit of an edge to it. The actual mechanic of the closing argument is not that different to your standard cross-examination. The context of it is different. Instead of witnesses to a crime scene, it's members of a jury. Instead of what they witnessed in a crime, they testify a single statement on why they've chosen their guilty verdict. Unlike a cross-examination though, you have the extra ability of contradicting one juror's statement with another. This helps reveal one more truth about the crime, and the 2 jurors who are contradicted immediately change their verdict, and the trial continues for you to observe that revealed truth. It's a shame that kind of thing didn't happen in the actual multiple witness thing. Yeah. Did Lee live to the hype? Well, sort of. It being a cross-examination, but with a different context has something to do with it, but nonetheless, it's a solid gimmick, despite being a gimmick. The fake witnesses in this case are a little on the boring side in terms of personality. These guys aren't all that entertaining, but what is revealed to them in this case is quite significant. A lot of twists and turns happen because of them, and we learn a few things about them. Most has something to do with the case one way or another. Off topic, the guy that keeps flip-flopping from saving Paul McDonald is popularity as the philanthropist and his donation to the city. His reason for him being praised rather than being sunlight most defended Scott Galactica in God. For being skeptical of him for being the real killer when Van Dijk revealed how he really got ridiculous sum of money. He was a debt collector. Yeah, this guy is actually a debt collector. McGonagall, the debt collector. Can someone pair him up with Serial Tigre if we can get a Breaking Bad parody? Yeah, come on guys, where is it? Halfway through the trial, the court got hit with a smoke bomb, and after the recess, we see the culprit behind that. Gina Lestrade is a reimagining of Inspector Lestrade from the Holmes canon, but as a teenage pickpocket from the slums, and a girl nonetheless. Among many, she's the fan favorite, being Kay Faraday of the investigation series, so it'll be important in the 5th case. Remember Gina. New and interesting contradictions get revealed over time, as you inspect the carriage where the victim fights for it Mortimer Middleton was killed. And yes, you get to inspect the actual omnibus in court. It's even added to the court record. To be fair, a freaking truck got added to the court record one time. So, moving on. As you keep finding these mysteries, one news case doubt on McGonagall grows and grows, whereas he misdid the truth rather than covering up for McGonagall. When we reach the climax of the case, it has reached a stalemate, and Wainuski has to plead his client guilty of all things. Yeah, he does. But due to a lack of proof on who actually killed him, because of this, the judge had to deliver the not guilty verdict himself, as it cannot be helped. At the spine-tickling line by McGonagall, he starts laughing his butt off to his seamless victory, and you can very well see that Barak himself knew McGonagall was guilty this entire time and had been chasing him for some time now. The wisest verdict that should have been is now forgone to the mists of time. This is one of the greatest moments in Ace Attorney history. This not only leaves the gallery, the prosecution, the jury, and Spence in a bad, confused taste, but the player too. Not only did the real killer didn't reveal himself, but something tells you, McGonagall, your client, is the very killer of this case. Yes, after the entire In God thing. It happens again, and he got away scot-free. I'll go in depth in this when we get to case 5. Back at the lobby, Ryan gets, hey, you're pretty shifty there, you know? And McGonagall refusing the large sum of money he offered at the beginning of the case. Wow. The final cutscene of the case shows us the gruesome fate that faced McGonagall. He died. Barak was rumored to be the Grim Reaper of the court. That although the prosecutors died a strange death, this is the second most spine-ticking event of the game. The fourth case of this game gets a lot of unnecessary flack. The event of the clouded cockerel is a case I like more than the second. Yes, I still prefer the second case over this for some reason. I wonder what it is. This is a murder case, which isn't a murder case. For once. It's not a murder case. Yes! Finally! We meet up with Vortex again, and he gives us a brand new case to work on. This is where we meet Tobias Gregson. I must say, this guy is pretty okay. His theme is great, his personality is hilarious at times, how he reacts to Holmes novels and how they make fun of Scotland Yard adds extra depth to this character. It's never explained why he has infinity tips. I call hacks. To me, it's a little off because it's so late in the game to introduce main characters, but he did introduce Dirk in Temple Revolution, and the second case of this game kind of ruined the pacing of it, so it's kind of... Okay, looks like I don't have much to complain about without making myself look like a hypocrite. This is also the first time we get into the detention center of this game. I like the way it is a little jail cell / dungeon rather than a visiting room where you are separated by bulletproof glass. But the latter is pretty cool too. Just like the last case, the defendant steals the cell, but it's for a different reason. Natsumi Suzeki is, believe it or not, an actual historical figure from Japan. Like how they portrayed his personality in this game. How he always stabs and how he speaks in haikus while doing poses which out JoJo of all things. It's really nice to see why Yusuke finds himself someone he can relate to in his journey of the British Empire. Because of the events in the last case, Ryu is more skeptical of his client and has a lot of room for doubt hiding in his brain, which investigates anyway upon seeing how desperate Suzeki is. This guy's eccentric attitude is really entertaining, by the way. Along the investigation, we meet two characters with names that lift straight from the Holmes canon, John and Joanne Garrigan. They are one of the two couples that appear in this case. The second we'll get into later. Those two are a bit mixed in their relationship. At one second they're all polite to each other, the next second we learned John got slapped in the face by Joanne on the night of the murder due to a misconception. Well, okay. John was an ex-soldier, but he isn't of high status as he cannot afford a maid, a symbol of status. That's why his wife Joanne dresses as a maid to give people the general idea of being an upper middle class citizen. Like how the designs of the characters' heads make them look like the sun and moon. It might be some sort of symbolism with a relationship, I think. Sherlock returns to the chapter, and another epic joint reasoning segment, and then some. Oh, I forgot to mention I was watching the Pearl Fay of this game. She's a bit of a Mary Sue, and she's a friggin' 10-year-old genius. She has a degree in being a doctor, and she writes books based on her roommate's adventures, but are exaggerated, so much that they result in the Holmes canon. Yeah. What a twist! She is even smarter than Holmes, as her deduction segment she had a bit more on the intelligent side, and she was able to do the synopsis of the entire case and the past 3 cases. Yeah. Did I mention she appeared in the last part of the last case? Yeah. She would check Wikipedia for the answer, but this is the 1800s, so deduction is all it takes. That's Wikipedia. We meet our second couple in the court, the O'Malleys. Compared to the Gardens, they are the epitome of romantic couples. Pat keeps dosing oftentimes gets woken up by his wife, Vola. You can tell how much they love each other to death, and you can see this by how they react to each other. The chemistry solidifies them as one of the best couples in the series. What's also just lovely is how Pat risked switching the clientele just so he's able to spend his wedding anniversary with his wife. You can see how much it means him as he barely spends enough time with her because of his work. Which is also, guess what's sweet? He was able to spend time with Rola by the end of the game. All thanks to Van Zeek. Good work, 10 out of 10. Good work, Van Zeek. Now, as we step away from the Almighty Soul and returning to its spin-off, The Adventure of the Cloud Cockerel, the mysteries and contradictions shown in this case are okay. It's pretty ironic that each of this theory has knowledge of some sort that relate to this case. The final twist at the end where it is revealed that Zuan could have been the one who threw the knife at the victim's back was sudden and was actually kinda cool. When John burst in to defend his wife, was really touching and awe-inspiring to watch. At the end of the trial, Suiseki is happy and goes back home. Holmes arrives late, and Wainusuke and Susato stay in his attic. The fifth and final case of the game, The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story, despite not being as great as the third case, is an amazing follow-up and a great climax. Life in 22-1B Baker Street is just as hectic as it is in the White Anything Agency. Some antics of Holmes leads us over towards a pawn shop where we get into some really funny antics. These antics really solidify Holmes as a character, and we see a more humane and intelligent side of him in the last case and in this one, despite being really lovable silly at the same time. Say, you guys still remember Gina from case 3? You do? Good, because she's here in this case like I said earlier, and she's entertaining in this one. This is the same in 2 cases ago, as he was a trickster and has a mouth that runs. This case paints her in the same light, except the entertainment is followed by mystery. What is he paying for a coat? Why is the music disc inside the coat? Why did Holmes bow his head insane because she told him to shut up? The world may never know. Also, this guy appears. Wait, the plot we're guessing already? Oh! The plot, this guy has a funny name. He downright takes Gina's belongings and you have joint reasoning segment on him, and nearly tries to kill you. Wait, what? Oh wait, the man with the epic theme song saves the day. No, it's not Frantiques. It's Gregson. Yay! Being back on track, Gina gets invited over to Baker Street by Iris, and we learn that the most famous home story, The Hound of the Baskervilles, was never published. But why? What is it that is within the story to be kept out of the public eye? Gina leaves in the middle of the night for the pawn shop in order to find out what is in the Baskervilles manuscript, and our cast follows her, which in typical Eastern fashion leads us to a murder, resulting in Gina being the defendant. Did I mention that Holmes gets shot in the gut in this, which results in him being absent throughout the majority of the case? Okay, moving on then. When we learn Susato has to leave for Japan, this leaves the impact on what could go down in the next game, as her dad has fallen ill and collapsed. As we meet Gina in the detention center, we are getting some more exposure to what transpired on the omnibus, and we even learn what Miganto himself had blackmailed Gina to commit perjury for him, as well as the 2 witnesses that bribed Beppo to take his bloodstained coat and to be taste in the corn shop. As the actual trial takes place, all the pieces come together to a climactic finish. Let's get to the first witnesses, the Tin Pillar brothers. These are the most entertaining witnesses. What makes you piece about understanding? Their dances in the middle of the trial and how they think Tobias Weston is the long-lost brother of Nazi Tin Pillar. These two have their moments a lot, and their over-the-top behavior is a blast to deal with, while committing multiple amounts of perjury into the courtroom. And most of the jury here are people you met previously. Most of them. Who's this guy? No citizen the fan when Van Dijk throws off his cloak this early in the trial, before the testimony was ever heard. Iris is our co-counsel for this one, and the job as one is a little different from Susato, as her attitude and mannerisms are different due to age and cultural differences. The intelligence present bits little sits around as Iris is able to convince the jurors on multiple occasions, and is able to display her scientific genius within the trial with her blood samples. Yay! Looks a little late, but may I please take this time to applaud the visuals of this game. I really love how they were able to display the animations as moving illustrations seamlessly and so fluid. It's like A huge overhaul compared to Dual Disney's and Spirit of Justice animations. The way it's utilized helps immensely to emphasize the effect of the current scene, giving you a serene feeling of superiority of the setting, and I love it for that. Back to the case then. While Niisuke's points gets proven wrong one after another, after an epic comeback he presents, the closest landing point he has ever gone would be when he calls the real kid up in the stand, Rupert Progray. This guy takes advantage of the situation and changes it in his favor. He always has something up his sleeve, most of the time. But he loses his absolute shit when he gets cornered. Nemi spills the beans on that Rupert and the Tin Pillars were childhood friends, and Rupert contacted them to rob the pawn shop. Tobias acts a little strange in this case, and in Alice's words, he goes out of character and strangles Nemi on the spot, which is later to be revealed that he did to hide the music disc inside his coat. We learn that this case and K3 were meant to be part of some larger conspiracy forming, and the contents of both music discs were the state secrets of Britain, considered in Japanese Morse code. When Rupert breaks down, he goes total haywire and almost kills Gregson. Almost. You must have used Ghost Tricks to come back to life. When he confesses his entire crime and backstory is when I began to love this guy as my favorite sympathetic Ace Attorney villain. It turns out that the victim of the third case was his father, who reluctantly helped to construct the music discs. Rupert exchanged the first disc with Migundal, while his skeptical father decided to exchange the second, which resulted in Case 3 happening. Rupert then became everything he hated about Migundal and killed him in cold-blooded revenge. Oh, so Vouts didn't kill Migundal, it was Rupert! He even changed his name after killing Migundal. Why should you feel sorry for this character? His childhood was living hell because of his life of payment, so he decided to study hard and get a job as a telegraph operator. He always had nightmares of going back to the ghettos, and when Migundal asked him for the state secret and offered him a large sum in return, he accepted. You feel even more sorry for him as he didn't expect things to go south, Migundal to betray his trust. What makes it even more tragic is that Rupert killed Hutz, the pawn shop owner, out of reflex. It was an accident. 2 cases in this game were out of malice. One of those murders was only premeditated. Yeah, only one of those were premeditated. The rest are very tragic accidents. Yeah, I wonder which ones were tragic. The case concludes with seeing Chisato leave Britain to Japan, but not before her committing perjury by messing with the crime scene. After a touching scene, we discover what's on half the music disc, as it is names of people we met like Asaugi, John Watson and Gregson. There's only one person on the disc we don't know about. Just like the animations, I should point out the amazing soundtrack of this game. The grandiose and amazing nature of the tracks are amazing. Unfortunately, I can't do justice in this video. My writing sucks. As Chisato leaves, we have a great end for the great adventure, but even then, the adventure isn't over yet. Thank you for watching. This is Human 645 signing out.